Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to an off-day Garden Report. The Hawks practicing, doing a non-contact session here after they got pretty much blown off the court in the first half of that game one. Second half, make up some ground. They had quite a few miscues to go over here, specifically on the defensive end, where Quin Snyder saw them getting blown by. He thought that was a big reason Robert Williams ended up having the first quarter he did. And with the pressure that they need to put on those perimeter players, the Celtics really took advantage of some of the openings on the backside of the defense that emerged. And
CLNS Media's Celtics coverage is brought to you by FanDuel. Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston and make every moment more on America's #1 sportsbook.
Offense not much better. They shot way below their expected shooting percentage, though Snyder did note that the Celtics did as well in that game. So they're going to have to clamp up even more defensively. We knew that was a gap between these two teams coming into this series, and as much as the Hawks did miss open shots in that game, you saw Boston turn them over. You saw Boston win the rebounding battle. You saw Boston control those margins that I wrote about being key for this series. The Hawks battled on the boards early, had some second, third chances that I'm sure Boston's going to go over when they get back to practice tomorrow. They are taking a day off today. Jaylen Brown going to get that hand checked out, so we'll hear more about how he's doing health-wise. As far as Atlanta goes, just typical bumps and bruises out of game one. No one missed this session here today as we took it in here at Northeastern, and they're going to be ready to go on Tuesday for game two. They'll practice again here tomorrow. We'll hear more from other players who overall are just going to be trying to erase that game. Snyder said before last game that the playoffs, you just try to erase it. And another thing we heard from Snyder, who I find it interesting, Celtics always looked up to his offense, the way he coached, the amount of three-pointers they took. Rattle it off, whatever his Jazz did. Brad Stevens, when he coached the Celtics, always tried to emulate it. I talked about his relationship with Brad. He discussed his relationship that it's pretty new with Joe Mazzulla yesterday before game one. Brad, more of a long-standing relationship, and Snyder laughed when I asked ways Brad tried to pull from him, look up to him. Snyder said it's vice versa. He looked up to Brad during those years, even back to Butler. And it's clear Snyder's a guy who wants to be friends with a lot of coaches, wants to take things from them, discuss basketball, but also things off the basketball court. He had a really funny quote yesterday about how he talks basketball with anybody. In fact, he caught a lob play from a pizza guy at one point in his life. So he's still trying to implement a lot with this Hawks team. I still find it interesting how taking over a couple weeks ago, month and a half ago, whatever it was, there's a lot he's still trying to implement into this team. And offensively, they did get better. That offensive rebounding is definitely a layer that challenged the Celtics in that game, and I think will continue throughout this series. Bay, Okongwu, Capella, all those guys attacking from different angles put a ton of pressure on the Celtics. But they responded, and you just saw the difference in talent, the difference in execution between these two teams especially, and that's what leads to 30-point first half. I don't know if we'll see that again in this series. Celtics can certainly shoot better than starting 0 for 4, but they went 7 for 9 after that, finished above 36%, where they rarely lose this year. I think they only have 5 losses, 6 maybe all season, when they shoot above that league average. So they'll look to do it again in game 2. We'll be back at practice tomorrow. Check out the Hawks here if we have time. And for now, from Northeastern, Bobby Manning, the Garden Report, CLNS Media, and Celtics All Access.